Hey, Kristin, today we're counting down the last few days of summer. We're going to ask why real ID enforcement is taking so damn long, tell you where you can buy a Pop-Tart scented candle, and we are going to eat a multiple course dinner themed to a kick-ass movie.
Plus, we have the implosion date for Las Vegas's Tropicana, mothers who regret the baby name they decided on, Darth Vader's voice will live on forever, and we have a ranking of the happiest states to live in. And P.S., Scott, not yours.
It is not, but damn it, I guess it's time for us to move again. We've got all that and more this week on the Swish Edition.
Live from the Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada, it's Dale and Scott.
Back in the studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada, but it's also a split show. Just so happens that Dale is on assignment this week. That's what they say on the news, right? When someone can't be there, whether they're on assignment or not. He's not in the studio with us today. So the second episode of season 15 is Dale-less. Dale-less, is that a word? But subbing in for Dale this week is my best friend in the entire world, Kristin Grant Spears Telastis. How are you?
Yay, I'm so glad to be here.
This is so fun, and I can actually see Kristin. You guys can't, but I will post a picture online so you can see what she looks like. She's been on the show before several times over the years, but it's been a while. It's been a long time. So Kristin and I go all the way back to when I was 17 and she was 16. We met at her Sweet 16 party, basically. I mean, we knew each other kind of before that, but that's when the spark went off and we became super good friends from then until now. And forever,
Crazy.
Right? And forever?
Forever
And ever and ever and ever. So welcome. Kristin is calling in from Herndon, Virginia.
Yep.
Which is a suburb of Washington, D.C. She lives, if you guys know Washington, D.C., she lives just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Dulles Airport. So that's where she is. So glad to see you. I haven't seen you in person in forever, but guess what? We're only about 37 days away from me coming to your house.
Soon. When was the last time we saw each other? I can't even remember.
I know. I haven't been to the East Coast since Christmas, and we didn't see each other at Christmas time, which was just because we were down in the Outer Banks, and you guys were you in Williamsburg this past Christmas, or was that a Northern Virginia Christmas? I don't remember.
It was a split Christmas. We did both.
Yeah.
I recall meeting you guys at MGM when you were here, when Max was little.
Yeah. That was
like 3 years ago.
Come
maybe?
on. No, well, we also went to the beach with you maybe after that. Remember? We went to the beach house.
Yeah, was that after or before?
I
don't know.
It's stupid that it's been so long. I'm sorry.
It is stupid.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, we're going to fix that next month. I'm going to see you.
Yes.
And it's
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very possible I might actually spend the night with you too. I'm going to talk to you that offline because that's no one else's business.
Oh, fabulous.
But, today is September 18th, 2024, and this is the last few days of summer. And I don't know about you guys there in Virginia, but it's feeling very autumny here. I actually wore a sweatshirt and sweatpants when I got up this morning. It was so cold.
You know what? It's still humid here. Like, it's just always humid. We had a week. 2 weeks ago, we had a week where it was completely like fall, and all I wanted was, I don't know, pumpkin spice everything. Now it's back to 80s in the days and 60s at night, but humid all the time.
And those are about our temperatures, but we obviously, as you know, we don't have the humidity, so which is nice. Right. So how do you say this word? Autumnal? Autumnal.
Autumnal.
Autumnal. The autumnal.
Autumnal. Autumnal.
Equinox. You say the first word, I'll say the second word. It turns out that this year it's at 8:44 a.m. Eastern Time, 5:44 a.m. Pacific Time, this coming Sunday, October 22nd. And if you guys know Kristin and Scott, you know that our favorite song together, our favorite song together is September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. And we will be singing that this Saturday night. Because
who doesn't love that song?
do you remember
it's just the greatest?
The 21st night of September. Speaking of Earth, Wind, and Fire, they just announced a new mini residency here at the Venetian in Las Vegas. They're doing 7 shows between October 9th and 19th. And I think that Dale and I should probably go, don't you?
Oh, you have to. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to that show? They're amazing.
Even though a couple of their members have died, they keep replacing them and they keep putting on awesome, amazing shows. And it just so happens that Kristin and I went with my late husband, Dennis, and your future husband, Rob. We have some great pictures from that night. Do you remember it?
Of course I remember it, but I think we were already married at that point.
Were you? Well, how long have you been married?
20 years.
Oh, it was
October.
Okay, it was 16 years ago. So yes, you were already married.
Yes.
My timing
that was such
is wrong.
A fun night. Rob went to see them. I don't know where the hell I was, but for some reason I couldn't go. I can't remember why now, but Rob went with a friend of ours to see Earth, Wind, and Fire last year at, I can't remember now. Was it Nats Park?
Yeah.
No,
they couldn't.
It doesn't matter.
They couldn't fill that.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter wherever they were. I don't think it was Wolf Trap, but they, Rob and our friend Matt said the show that they put on was every bit as good as when we saw them 16 years ago. I mean, they're just like, they're amazing.
They're fire. Well, they are Earth, Wind, and Fire. They are everything. I think they would do really, really well. Now they're going to be at the Venetian here, but I think they'd really do good at our new Sphere. You've heard of the Las Vegas Sphere, right?
I have heard of it. It's trippy.
Amazing. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later in the show. But I'll never forget that night at Wolf Trap. We had so much fun. Wolf Trap, if you guys don't know, it's an outdoor amphitheater type venue. And there are fixed seats that are covered with a cover, but it's all open air. And then beyond the open air cover, the theater itself, there's this grassy knoll. And people bring blankets and picnics, and you can sit out there with your friends and family and drink wine and eat snacks and watch amazing concerts. And it's so much fun.
Do you know you can't do anymore what we did that year that we went? Remember, we brought a big giant cooler with a bunch of stuff to eat, and we had seats under the covered pavilion, but we brought a whole bunch of picnic stuff, and we sat at a picnic table and ate. Like we came early and
before
ate.
It started, yeah.
Before it started, and then we took everything back to the car.
Yeah.
They won't let you do that anymore. Once you're in, you're in. You can't go in and out on your ticket.
So you can't bring your own stuff in?
You can if you're sitting on the lawn, but if you have a ticket under the pavilion, you can't bring a cooler and eat and then take it back to your car. Presumably for security reasons, but I think it's just because they want you
to buy their shit.
Buy food.
Yeah, of course. Everything has to change. Why does everything have to change? Not for the better all the time.
We were just at Wolf Trap to see Boys to Men, and I mean, that rule is annoying.
Yeah.
But Wolf Trap is just such a phenomenal venue. It was every seat under the pavilion is wonderful, and it was just a wonderful evening.
And it's not that far from your house. What, like 10 minutes?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty great. Well, speaking of shows, there's this really cool thing. They have it here in Vegas. They also have locations in Los Angeles, New York City, and London. Not really close to Kristin's house, but it's really cool. So it's called Fork and Film. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
So basically what you do is you go to this venue that has tables and a restaurant, basically, or a kitchen, and you get a multi-course meal that is kind of infused around the movie. So the first one they did, I believe, was Ratatouille. So you know Ratatouille, the cartoon.
Sure.
So all the courses throughout the movie will be themed to what you're seeing in that particular scene. So of course you're going to have Ratatouille when you're watching Ratatouille, but you have this full Italian meal. And I just think this is so fun. And then there's drinks that go with drinks or cocktails or mocktails, depending on whether you drink or not, that are also crafted to go along with what you're watching. And I think that's so much fun.
I don't know about that.
You don't like this idea?
I think I've just been disappointed so many times by the concept of, eating in a movie theater because the food is never any good. Um, and so I just wonder if they'd really be able to execute this in a way where you'd actually be pleased with the quality of the food,
Well,
right? I mean,
it's getting rave reviews, and it's done by these really world-class chefs. So they're really, and it's not cheap. We're talking about,
yeah, no kidding.
it starts at $199 for the classic, or you can opt for the vegan option. And then there's a VIP level at $299 per person. And there's absolutely nothing on their website. And I scoured their website to find out what the difference is between classic and VIP. What do you get for that extra $100? I'm not sure. Maybe a better
Probably
look,
higher shelf alcohol package or something.
or closer to the screen. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know. Color me skeptical on this. I would go once, but
yeah. They've announced 4 movies. 3 of them are already sold out. Next month they're doing Scream. I don't know how they do that. That seems kind of
what's
bloody.
the food in Scream? I can't
I
imagine
don't
that.
know. They did Ratatouille, which is already sold out. This winter they're doing Frozen, the Disney cartoon. That's already sold out. But you can still get tickets for October 4th's Hocus Pocus here in Vegas. So kind of a Halloween themed one.
I don't know. I can't figure out what the food would be for Scream. Frozen. I mean, I've seen that 100,000 times because I have a 6-year-old. Maybe you theme it to things that are frozen. They're not eating a lot in that movie.
Right.
Ratatouille is an obvious one.
Yeah.
I must admit I've never actually seen the movie Hocus Pocus, so I don't have a thought on that. But
that is criminal. And because you do have a 6-year-old, you need to put Hocus Pocus on for him this Halloween season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 6-year-old can totally take Hocus Pocus, and it's so much fun. And there's a Hocus Pocus 2 also. Yeah. You know, that's Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker. Yeah. It's really good.
I know who it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we'll try Fork and Film some days, and Dale and I can give you guys a review.
Good luck.
Also, as Kristin mentioned, the Tropicana Hotel and Casino, which has been around for decades and decades, it closed several months ago, and they're finally going to implode it. We have a date. It's happening on Wednesday, October 9th at 2:30 a.m. They always do it in the middle of the night because, there's less traffic and stuff, because they do have to close the roads around it. We were thinking about going. We really debated it for a while and wondering if we could get a free room from MGM across the street so we could kind of like set an alarm and get up and watch it. But we decided not to go down there. There's going to be thousands and thousands of people, and I just, I can't deal with people. So we will watch.
It would be cool to watch, though.
Yeah, but we'll watch it the next day on the news. I don't need to be there. I don't need to be there for something that takes, 5 seconds. It is pretty cool.
I know, but it's such a marvel of engineering. I think it would be super cool to watch that. And that is something that would totally appeal to my 6-year-old son, watching a building getting blown up.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got a couple weeks. Can you guys come out? Take him out of school for a couple days. They are doing watch parties at hotels and around the Tropicana, which is right there in the corner near MGM Grand and Excalibur. Mandalay Bay's Foundation Room, which is their really cool bar restaurant on the very top floor of Mandalay Bay. They have an outdoor balcony that you can take your drinks out on and see the whole strip. They're having a watch party from 10:30 p.m. till 3 a.m. It starts at $50. So if you want to see it in luxury and craft cocktails, you could do that. So we'll let you know. I'll talk to Dale again, see if I can convince him to do it. We don't usually stay up that late. That's very late for us. That's
insane.
I went to bed at 9:30 last night. So. The UFC won't be back at the Las Vegas Sphere anytime too soon, but it's not because their event last weekend wasn't awesome. The UFC's pay-per-view event apparently broke all the records. They made record money on all kinds of stuff, from seats, tickets to merchandise. But Dana White says that they won't be back because they have a contract with MGM. And the only reason they got to use the Sphere for the UFC last weekend is because MGM double booked the venue that they were supposed to use. So they got a pass this one time. The UFC had to spend $25 million to use the Sphere for that one night. But I don't know, Kristin, if you saw any video from this event. It was frigging amazing. And I'm not a boxing or fighting fan at all, but this looked amazing. I don't know if you know this screen, and this is something that Max would love. It's the largest movie screen in the entire world, 16K. It takes up your entire field of vision. There's no bad seat in the house. You feel like whatever they're showing you on the screen, you feel like you're there. The seats move. They have these haptic things in the seat. So if there's an explosion on the screen, your seat moves. There's sound. There's mist. There's sense. They even scent it. It's absolutely amazing.
So it's like an IMAX theater times 10 with Disney level, like you're on a ride or something.
There you go. All of that. You know, the U2 did an amazing residency there. Fish has been there. The Grateful Dead, which I forget their new name, the new Grateful Dead or whatever. Mm-hmm. They have a great movie that you can go see every day when they're not doing special events. And The Wizard of Oz is coming. They're doing a edited down 80-minute version of The Wizard of Oz that you can buy tickets for. And I cannot wait to see that on the big screen. I think it's going to be really cool. Mm-hmm. So I'll be back. Anyway, $25 million for a one-night event. It's a lot of money.
That is bananas. Bananas.
Dana White has a lot of money. Yeah.
Apparently.
Let's see. Pink was just here at Allegiant Stadium Friday night. It was kind of cool because apparently she injured herself sometime at the very end of the show, and she didn't think she could come out for her encore. But she's like, you know what? In my encore, I fly. So she had a couple of the crew members carry her out and attach her to her wires. And then she sang the last 3 songs flying around the stadium as she does in all of her concerts. And I thought that was so cool. She's a trooper.
She's amazing. She is amazing.
And it's amazing to me that she doesn't have a residency. This was just one stop on her tour. But it's amazing that no one is booking her for multiple shows because I think she could fill it every night.
Oh, she could. And she clearly has the, what do you call it? The portfolio, the catalog of songs to pull from, right?
Absolutely. And she puts on an amazing show. Apparently she saw Absinthe the night before. There's video of her seeing that show. That's the very raunchy, very adult show in front of Caesar's Palace. Which, have you seen Absinthe? You have not. Mm-mm. It's we're taking you when you come. We'll leave Max at home. It's really great. Anyway, so Pink was at Allegiant on Friday night. Dale and I are going to Allegiant this coming Sunday. We're going to the Raiders-Panthers game, Kristin. Woo! You got to, if it's being televised in your neighborhood, please watch it. It's the 4:00 game for you guys. It's 1:00 for us. So.
Because you know Rob is a huge Raiders fan, perhaps slightly less so now that they're in your state rather than, from Oakland. But right. He's an enormous Raiders fan, so we always try to catch that game in addition to the Commanders. I would love it. Oh, maybe that's how I can get you guys to come to Vegas. I'll get tickets to the Raiders and say, hey, Rob. We talked about that. Yeah, about we should go out there for a Raiders game. He would love that. Well, we got 4 tickets for free from Resorts World. Thank you, Resorts World. We're taking our friends Ian and Michelle, who are flying in all the way from Honolulu, Hawaii, to go to this game because Ian is a huge Panthers fan. So, and guess what I did? Awesome. Guess what I did to balance out Ian, because Ian's coming in his full Panthers outfit. I went out and bought myself a custom Raiders jersey with my name on the back. Really? Yeah, so I'm going to wear that to the game on Sunday. I'm excited. That's cool. That's very cool. And I picked the number 54 to go on my shirt because, one, there is no current Raider using the number 54 because I didn't want to put Wallace. I didn't want to put Wallace on a shirt and then use someone else's number. So I picked a number that's not being used, and it just so happens that 54 is my age. How old you are. Yeah, so I can wear this jersey until March 2nd. No, I can wear it till March 1st.
All right, so you teased this next story at the top of the show. As we told everyone, Kristin, last week on last week's episode, James Earl Jones died last week at the age of 90. Oh shit, was he 93? I believe.
3? Uh-huh.
Did not know this at the time, but prior to his death, he gave Disney perpetual permission to use his voice for the Darth Vader character forever. Disney will use AI to generate Darth Vader's voice based on James Earl Jones', recordings over the years of the voice. So he will live on. Now, there's some people who aren't super happy about this, especially members of the actors union who are afraid of AI. They're afraid they're going to lose their jobs because AI is going to take over everything. But actually, I'm kind of okay with this. I think if a particular actor says, yes, you can, then I think it is okay. What do you think about that?
I'm sort of torn on it too, because on the one hand, I mean, I just love his voice. He will always be Darth Vader, right?
Yeah.
And so the idea that there can't ever be anything with Darth Vader in it in the Star Wars universe ever again is, bananas. And of course there will be. And how awful would it be if they switched to someone else's voice? It just wouldn't be right. Everyone would be in an uproar.
Yeah.
It would be awful. So in that sense, selfishly, I'm glad of this, that they can continue to have the Darth Vader voice. But on the other hand, I think if I were a union member, I would be very frightened by this in terms of
it is very frightening.
Artificial intelligence replacing. I was just thinking that yesterday, even for I remember way back when your sister doing some sort of like voiceover training class way back when we lived in Arlington, right? Like this idea of having a side hustle of using your voice to record stuff in the studio. Is that even a thing anymore? Would anyone actually pay, just a random unknown non-celebrity person to do a voiceover? Like, why would you? You could just record it with AI.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that seems like a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope. And it's the same thing. And I'm constantly, I spend way too much of my day on social media. And I'm constantly commenting about AI stuff. There's this one meme that's going around about this company that will produce a book for you in 15 minutes, a full-length novel that you can give as a gift.
God.
That you can give as a gift to a friend. Like if I was going to give you a birthday present, I was like, a mystery novel where the main character is Kristin, and it can be written in 15 minutes and it's done, and then you could do what you want. And I'm like, isn't that nice? You're putting real life writers and authors out of business with this fucking technology, which is stealing basically. You know how AI works? They basically put all the novels, all the great novels, and all the things that have been written before into a computer, and then the computer uses that as a basis to write new ones.
Yep.
Well, I'm totally against that, because as a writer, I want to write my stuff. And you know what? I feel like there should be now a new thing on the front of books, like a little stamp that says, this was written by a real friggin' human, not a computer. And people should appreciate that.
But how do you verify that? I mean, that's the thing that is so frightening to me.
It's frightening. It's frightening.
You now don't know what's real and what's not real.
You don't.
Right?
And just like Donald Trump posting a picture of Taylor Swift wearing a Donald Trump t-shirt and supposedly, supporting him. We don't know, and that's just going to get worse. Can we trust the pictures we're seeing? Is that picture real? Obviously not. We know that for a fact right now, that Taylor Swift does not support Donald Trump. And we're not getting political on this show, but that's wrong. It's wrong to purposely use a picture that's fake and pass it along as truth. I think that there should be ramifications.
Yes, consequences.
Consequences
but I
for
think,
that.
like most things in life, there's a yin and a yang to it, right? There's two sides to it, and there's there is a case to be made for the usefulness, obviously, of AI. And every time I use it for business purposes, there's a part of me that feels equally delighted that I have reduced a task that would have normally taken me hours into, something that takes 10 or 15 minutes. And there's a part of me that feels like I just cheated on my test by, copying someone's work or something. It's like, it's a weird, ethical space. And the thing that I always think about is, Max is 6 and he's in first grade, so he's far from this now, but how do you manage for kids that are growing up in this age? Think about when you had to produce a paper. Your teacher would teach you a subject in class and they'd say, go home and write an essay for your homework. Kids can go home and press, 4 keystrokes on a computer and have an essay in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is efficient, totally efficient.
Right.
But are they going to grow up being complete idiots because they don't know how to do any of the stuff for themselves?
They are. And I don't see how we're going to get around that. I really don't. The only way that I could see getting around that is that kids would have to sit in a classroom monitored by a teacher or some kind of monitor and sit there with a pencil and a paper and write the damn thing in front of them without any electronic help. How else could you?
Which is not, practical.
It's not practical, but that's the only way that I could see that you're protecting, that you're proving that they actually did the work out of their own friggin' head.
Yes. So apparently schools have tools, presumably also powered by AI, that can check work for a risk factor of whether it was produced by AI. So our neighbor down the street, her daughter just graduated from high school and is off in college. And I remember her telling us last year that she was having to defend her daughter at every turn, who she was herself doing exactly what you said and monitoring Nyla while she was, creating papers and so forth. Yeah. And she knew that she wasn't using AI. And the teacher would email them every so often and say, this came back with a percentage of, over the threshold, 70% or 80% likely that part of this was generated with AI. So she needs to prove her sources, right. And she was getting constantly challenged. Yeah. And the mom was like effing pissed off about it, right? Because she believes in the what am I trying to say? The ethical nature of her kid who was doing her best. Yeah. So I think, it just brings up a whole host of, compliance issues that we certainly never had to deal with.
It really does. Amazing. Well, when we had to do papers in high school and even in college, we had to actually walk out and go to a library and go to a card catalog and find the book and then get the book and read the book. And oh my God, amazing. Do kids even go to libraries anymore? Do libraries even exist at colleges?
I don't know. That's a sad thing, isn't it?
My sister's oldest, Henry, just went to college. He's, he's been there, a month now? I wonder if does he have to go to the library or is it all right there on his laptop? I don't know.
What would be the point?
What's the point of going to a library? I don't get it. Anyway. All right. This is interesting, and I'm glad that you're on the show because Dale and I can't really talk to this topic. But according to a survey done by Baby Center, an online baby names blog, 1 in 10 mothers regret the name they gave their baby. There's some celebrity examples of this, Kristin, so I'll start with that. Kylie Jenner is probably one of them. She and her baby daddy, I don't think they're married, Travis Scott, changed their second baby's name from Wolf to Air after experimenting with Knight for a while. Knight, Knight. So Wolf, I don't know, Wolf Scott, that's okay name, I guess. But now his name is Air, A-I-R-E. Air.
This is ridiculous.
Air Scott.
This is just absolutely ridiculous.
Amy Schumer named her first baby. When the baby first came out, Amy Schumer and her husband named the baby Genital Fisher. Genital. They decided it sounded too much like genital, so she changed the baby's middle name to David. So now it's Gene David Fisher. Do you have any regrets for what you named Max? Now, Max is his nickname. His real first name is...
Max's first name is Maximino, and his middle name is John. We have absolutely no regrets. He was named after Rob's dad and my dad. Rob's dad is Maximino. My dad was John. Of course, my dad went by Buddy, but his real name is John. But what's funny about that naming situation is that a lot of Rob's cousins, for whatever reason, 2 sets of Rob's cousins have 3 kids apiece, and they named them all with M names, right? So there's Maya, Michaela, and Michael. There's Matthew, Madison, and Marissa. There's a bunch of M's, right? And right after we named Max, and had it in our minds, like we named him something very meaningful, right? Maximino after Rob's dad and John after my dad. And we were somewhere with the family and we said something like, I think Rob said, well, we decided not to go down the path that all the cousins name everyone with an M word. And then we looked at each other and went, holy shit, we chose an M name. We weren't even thinking of that. But listen, I mean, what is more important than choosing the name for your baby? If you can't screw your head on straight enough to think through the damn name that you've chosen, like, how many months did you have to think about what Genital sounds like? Are you kidding?
Right.
I just feel like this is, and I realize this survey supposedly includes people outside of, the celebrity set.
Of course.
But it's like these people are so self-absorbed, it just makes me want to vomit. Like, get your shit together, think about a meaningful name, choose it, and you're done. You don't get to keep repicking. Oh, let's try wolf, let's try air, let's try night. No, you pick a name, you give it to them, it's on their birth certificate, you're done.
Done.
in the case of Amy Schumer, I think that's the only acceptable thing, is if you're a dumbass and you didn't think it through and you didn't realize how horrible it is and that you've now consigned your child for the rest of his or her days to deal with jokes, then I think it's acceptable in maybe their first month of life to change it. But after that, you're done.
Yeah. Well, okay. What about you? You were named Kristin Grant. Were you always happy with having what sounds like a male name as a middle name?
No.
And
I hated it when I was a kid.
Where did Grant come from?
It's a family name that goes way back. It was my mother's maiden name.
Okay.
Right? But it was used as the first name for a male cousin of mine who's much older than I and has now passed, Grant Parker. And so when I was a kid, I hated it because it was a boy's name.
Yeah.
But now, of course, I appreciate it and I love it. And I love that was part of my name because it was part of the heritage of my family, the story of my family.
And it's the name that I called you for the first 10 years that we knew each other. Yeah.
To my dismay.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm still mad at my parents to this day for naming me the name that they named me. And you know this story very well. They named me Robert Scott Wallace, but decided to call me Scott, which has just been a huge friggin' pain in the ass forever because, several people still call me Robert because they think that's... And then I have to correct them and say, nah, it's Scott. But it says Robert right here. And I'm like, yeah, but I go by my middle name. Why do you go by your middle name? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. Because my parents are idiots. They wanted to name me, as you know, when I was born, my dad wanted to name me Robert after his brother. And my mom was like, well, you can't do that because what if he has kids someday? Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, so they named me Robert Scott Wallace and called me Scott. And it's just been such a pain in the asshole forever. I've never been Robert. I've never been Rob. Nobody calls me Robert. I mean, that would just be stupid. So it's just dumb. Why didn't they call me Scott Robert Wallace? Why didn't they put Scott at the beginning?
Because that doesn't go. The cadence of that is wrong.
Scott Robert
Wallace? That sounds horrible.
It would have been fine if that's the way it always was. And you would have thought, oh yeah, that's cool.
No, I don't think so. The syllables are all unbalanced. I don't think that goes. But it certainly made you unique. And I mean, for a long time, before there was such a thing as caller ID, if someone called and asked for Robert, you knew it was someone that you didn't want to talk to,
That's
right?
absolutely true. But now I have on my iPhone, I have all calls that aren't in my contacts blocked. They go straight to voicemail. So fuck them. Anyway, this might be something that you're interested in because I think United has a big base at IAD.
I saw this.
United Airlines just announced that they're going to give free Wi-Fi to everyone, and they're adding Starlink to every single airplane. That'll be 350 megabytes per second download. I mean, you basically watch a movie right there on the airplane if you want, live. Very excited about this. United will be in the same league as Delta and JetBlue, which currently offer in-flight connectivity for free. Hawaiian and JetX are also going to add Starlink to their airplanes. Now, what the fuck is wrong with American? American still has GoGo, and they want you to pay for it.
Well, so as a Mileage Plus Premier flyer, I got a personalized email telling me about this update, and I thought, mostly I thought like it's about fucking time. I almost only ever fly United because, as you mentioned, I live practically on top of Dulles and they have a huge hub there.
Yeah.
But I did wonder, I think right now it costs, I don't know what it costs for non-Mileage Plus members. It's $8 for me to buy Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
On a flight. I think maybe it's 10 or 12 if you're not a Mileage Plus member. That is not an insignificant stream of revenue. So my immediate thought was, how are they going to replace that revenue that they're collecting right now from everyone that gets on a flight and thinks, how can I survive this? Unless you're one of those people, not to take us off topic, but have you heard of that crazy trend of people basically bragging about being on long haul flights and not doing anything, not reading anything, not watching anything? Like, there's a thing.
Yeah.
There's a thing. I've seen it posted on social media, and people are posting that they went on 10, 12, 14-hour flights and did nothing. Didn't sleep, didn't read, didn't watch a screen.
And
they just sat in their seat.
And this is something to brag about? That doesn't even make any sense.
Insanity.
So I've been on flights where I've sat next to someone who just sat with their hands folded in their lap, staring straight ahead for the entire flight. And I'm like,
psychopath.
And I'm like, what is fucking wrong with you? What's going on inside your head? Are you entertaining yourself in there? Because you're weird. Ugh. I have to be doing something at all times. I have to be reading or looking at my phone or watching something on the TV.
Or sleeping.
Well, I can't sleep on airplanes. That's why I don't go to. That's why I haven't been to Australia. I can't sleep on airplanes. You
just need to knock yourself the F out. Like, take some Ambien or something.
Yeah, or have 8 Jack Daniels. Yeah, that might work. But then you're fucking hungover when you get there. I don't know. All right, so you're excited about free internet for all.
I'm excited about free streaming, basically. But I'm apprehensive about how they're going to get that revenue back. They're going to charge other fees.
Oh, they're going to get it. They're going to get it. They're going to charge more for the ticket, or they're going to charge more for bags, or they'll find a way. They'll find a way. Speaking of flying, this really pisses me off, and I just had a cow about this. I don't understand what the fucking problem is. We're talking about real ID enforcement. So the government way back in 2005 decided to pass a law that we needed to enhance the driver's licenses here in the country. So we actually, for 100% sure, know that it's you on that damn card, right? So this card says, this person we know, they are a citizen, they belong here, they are cool, real ID. So they set up these parameters of what it takes to get a real ID. They told all the states, you need, at the DMVs on all the states, you need to be compliant by X date. They all did it. Every single state, the District of Columbia, and 5 territories, like Guam and whatever, they all are now real ID compliant. So every citizen can go to a DMV wherever they live and get one of these damn things. They've had years to do that. But now They're saying that they want to push it back again 2 more years because people have not gotten the damn Real ID licenses, even though they've had years to go get them. Why? Why are we giving people such leeway when they've had years and years to get it done? I've had one for years. I've had one for 5 or 6 years. I assume you have one too.
Sure.
What the hell is the problem, and why does our government keep pushing this back and making our skies less safe?
I don't know. I don't get it either.
What is the reason?
Essentially, it is bringing the standards for getting a state-issued ID or driver's license up to the same identity-proving standards as getting a passport, right?
How hard is it to prove who you are?
It's long been right. There are long-standing standards in terms of if you want a passport that allows you to travel in and outside of your country, you have to be able to prove your identity in a more stringent way than if you're just getting a driver's license. In this day and age, I don't get why it is deemed to be such a burden to people domestically to meet that same standard level. I just don't get it.
I just don't get it. It's not that hard to get a copy of your social security number card. It's not that hard to find your birth certificate.
Look,
it's not that hard.
It's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass.
But it can be done.
And you have to follow a very bureaucratic process. And I will say, having been through this once for myself when I got married and once for Max when we were getting his social security card, going to the social security office is like the DMV times 100. It's like the 9th circle of hell. And I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone.
Yeah.
But if you have years to plan for it, like
there's no
make
excuse.
an appointment 2 months from now, 3 months from now at the social security office.
And get it done.
If you need a copy of your, like if you're a woman and you've changed your name, you might need a copy of your marriage certificate. I don't have any effing idea where my marriage certificate is 20 years later, but you know where I can get one? At the state capitol. I can, write away for it. Or I think you can even go to the DMV and they'll procure it for you. Like it's not hard. It's a gigantic pain in the ass, but it can be done.
So why are they pushing it back? Because a certain percentage of people still haven't gotten it done and they have no friggin' excuse. And you know what? If you're that dumb that you can't figure it out with 5 years notice, you don't deserve to fly. That's the way I see it.
I don't
You
think
don't deserve to fly.
I think it's that people are saying they're just going to push this out anyway, so I'm going to wait until the last minute. I mean, that's human nature.
That's called laziness. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's why, there's such a large percentage of people that don't get their taxes done by April 15th because they're fucking lazy and they just don't want to get their shit together and do it on time. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's amazing. I don't know. I don't have the percentage in front of me, but the percentage of people who don't file their taxes by April 15th is astronomical. And it's like
crazy.
When it's due. It's always due on April 15th. So what is your friggin' problem? Why can't you just get it done? I get it done as soon as I possibly can. Because that's what you're supposed to do. All right, this is going to be our... I'm sorry.
They say that there are 2 kinds of people in the world.
Yeah.
People who put their taxes together in January, the moment they receive their W-2 from their employer.
Yeah.
And people who put their taxes together at midnight the day before
on the 14th.
They're due.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm somewhere in between. All right, Kristin, I'm going to make this the last story because we're running out of time. So Wallet Hub, which likes to put out lists of crazy things, they put out their 2024 list of the happiest states. They base this on a bunch of different things: emotional and physical well-being, work environment ranking, and community environment ranking. So putting all those factors together, they figure out what are the happiest states and what are the unhappiest states to live in. So it turns out that neither of the states that you and I live in are in the top 10, but neither of the states we live in are in the bottom 10. So we should feel good about that, don't you think?
I don't know. This is dumb.
It is.
This is so dumb.
And it's very subjective.
What are the criteria? This is ridiculous.
So the number one happiest state to live in is Hawaii, apparently. But I also heard there were a lot of alcoholics there because they feel isolated. We'll have to ask my friend Ian that because he lives there. I'm going to see him this weekend. I'll ask him what he thinks about that. Number 2 is Maryland. Really?
What?
Number 3 is New Jersey. My sister will be happy about that. Number 4 is Utah. My friend Maria lives there. She seems to like it. And number 5 is Delaware, where Dale's whole family's from. And we're
no sense.
Yeah. All right. So all the way down, you want to hear the bottom 5? The bottom 5 are New Mexico, where I used to live in Santa Fe, Tennessee, West Virginia, Arkansas, and number 50 is Louisiana. Louisiana is the shittiest place to live. Unless you live in North.
It seems to me this is directly related to, socioeconomic.
There's a lot going on there,
status. But it's just a ridiculous, meaningless list because the fact is that you make your own happiness.
Like all lists. Well, okay, so Virginia came in at number 16. Virginia is the state where Kristin and I both grew up and where Kristin still lives. Have you ever lived anywhere else except Virginia? Yeah, you lived in New York for a while. But as an adult, you've never lived anywhere except Virginia.
Correct.
I lived in Virginia till I moved to D.C., I guess. Yeah. For a long time. Long time passing. So where is my state of Nevada? We're number 37. But I think that's wrong because I'm very happy here. I've never been happier. I've never been happier than living here in Las Vegas. So we got everything here.
This is meaningless. And the fact is, if you're unhappy, you need to do something to change it. It has nothing to do with what fucking state you live in.
It is true. All right, so we got one more story before we say goodbye to Kristin and goodbye to you. A candle company called Goose Creek is now selling Pop-Tart scented 3-wick candles for $13.99. I think these look really cool. I love candles. I've got probably 15 just sitting in my kitchen alone. I think I'd buy these. They have brown sugar cinnamon, s'mores, frosted raspberry, frosted strawberry, and cookies and cream. Would you buy one of these, Kristin?
I love the idea, and I also love candles, but I cannot abide a candle that smells like something to eat. So no, I'm not buying any of these.
All right, she's not buying them. And we're not buying any of the things we talked about today. It's all bullshit. We're calling this episode Pleased to Meet You, Genital Fisher. That's the title of the September 18th episode. Kristin, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. It means the world to me. It means the world to me, and I love you so much, and I cannot wait to come see you and Max and Rob in just over 30 days.
I love you too. Thanks for having me, and hurry up and come visit.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully I'll get Dale back from assignment in time for next week's show. Well, we have a lot to tell you. We're doing some really cool shit this week. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
This, my friends, is the Swish Edition.
Oh my God. Did I tell you about the time that Dale and I did the entire show? And then when it was over, I looked at him and it said, I forgot to press record. He was so fucking mad at me. And then we did it again, and it was better than the first time.